Doing mailbags. We're answering your questions and we're listening to Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and tell me, how am I supposed to live without you? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, and we are available on all platforms. We are here to do a fantasy basketball mailbag, and I'm joined by one of the most beautiful mailbag hosts that I've seen. Of course, it is the one and only Kingy. Kingy, welcome to the show.
Morning, mate. I do love a mailbag, so glad to be here.
Speaking of mailbags, Nikola Topic, terrible news with the diagnosis of testicular cancer. I would guess that he is not coming back this season. The recovery surgery, probably some sort of chemo or radiation. I would doubt that we see Topic this season. So all our prayers and thoughts go out to him and his recovery from that diagnosis. At least they caught it. That's the major good thing about that, Kingy. But we don't need to catch that sort of stuff at the moment. What we need to do is get to people's questions regarding fantasy basketball. So obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff regarding someone else that I just wake up. Yeah, it's 6:30 in the morning. Of course I just woke up. Bloody hell, what do you think I do? Just live like a vampire? All right, 4-3 asks the question, Kingy. He says, do you drop Trae Jones, who is currently putting up really good numbers with Kobe White out, for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who is putting up good numbers, but might also put up more good numbers if Trae Young misses? What would you do there?
I think I'd be okay with that. Kobe White's pretty close. I think I don't know the exact time frame on his return, but we don't. Was there word on Trae Young overnight? I know yesterday.
There's been no update
nothing.
that I've seen.
No. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if Trae is going to miss a couple of weeks here, Kobe White could be back this week or even in the next game or two. So, yeah, I think I'd be okay with doing that.
I think I would be too. I think that there's so many of these questions, Kingy, that come through where it's just like, I don't think it matters either way, honestly. Like, you're taking a guess about something that we don't know. We don't know whether Trae Young is out or not.
No.
We have a fair idea that Kobe White is about to return, but it's also possible that Trae Jones continues playing 30 minutes. Alexander Walker's already playing 30 minutes too, so we could be in a situation where Trae Young is hurt or not hurt, and Alexander Walker and Jones have the same 30-minute roll off the bench. In the end, don't worry about it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. There is, if you want to talk upside on it, Kobe White's returning. Trae Young might miss 3 months. He probably won't, but he might. So maybe that's what you do. But there's obviously no guarantee that that's going to happen. OC9882, is Jared McCain worth picking up for Davion or Cam Johnson in a 12-team category league? Well, I think there's multiple parts to this, Kingy. Is Jared McCain worth picking up? Probably not. I don't see how that's going to work as the fourth guard on that team.
Yeah.
And that's not including Kelly Oubre. And his game is pretty empty. I don't see how that's going to work. But the guys you're talking about dropping there, Davion Mitchell, he's not a priority hold to me, and Cam Johnson's been terrible. But the overall question about McCain in like a regular 12-teamer, I don't see it.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he was pretty impressive last year for a rookie who didn't...
He was for like 8 games.
Yeah, and they now have VJ Edgecombe and Quentin Grimes, who are both obviously playing very well. So, yeah, I'm not prioritising McCain anywhere.
I just don't see, like, we saw last season, Embiid was out, Maxey was out, George was out, he had 30-plus usage, he shot 50% from the field, and he was great. And then those guys returned, he played 26 minutes, everything went down, and he was useless. And it's worse now. So, I know there's I've got a lot of questions, say, already I've seen, regarding old mate Jared McCain. I just don't see it working, to be honest. I just don't see how, outside of random pop-off games, that it happens. There's going to be a lot of questions about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Like, I guess, Kingy, the blanket way to look at this is whoever your worst player is in general, drop him. Like, who cares? Someone said Aaron Neesmith. If he's your worst player, who cares? Like, what's he going to do that's going to be so good that you don't want to take a chance on it? Like, to me, that's just whatever. Don't, like, stress the decision on it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, Neesmith isn't going to be a top 50 player.
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing with Jordan Poole? If he gets the same treatment the next 2 days, Alex Banks asks, is he a drop on Sunday night 12-team weekly Roto League? So if he's playing 20 minutes a night, they're keeping him on the bench and they're committing to Jeremiah Fears, you can't keep him. Like, 20 minutes is nowhere near enough, I don't think, for Jordan Poole.
No, it's not. It's an odd situation there in New Orleans. Like, I don't know why they went out and got Jordan Poole and then moved him to the bench after a week. It's like a fantasy manager giving up on their team. Maybe the Pelicans given up on their team.
Screw this. My draft picks are all terrible. I'm not even seeing my lineup. That's what the Pelicans did, basically.
Yeah.
John Ray Jordan's going to start. All right, cool.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, what the hell? Why is he start?
I worked this out yesterday. Someone corrected me, but I did tweet it out. I said it's possible that the Pelicans could have given up pick 1 and 2 in this draft for Derek Queen. They said, well, that actually when they had the Pacers pick, it was top 4 protected, so that couldn't happen. So that's fair enough. Yeah. But still, man, and then just give up on stuff is crazy. Put in no effort whatsoever. Greg Bay says, Kingy, is Max Christie worth looking at? Well, he's a pretty sexy bloke. Like, he's got a little bit of appeal. I don't mind a bit of a Max Christie wallpaper, but for fantasy, I don't know. It'd probably need to be pushing 170, 180 players deep. And you're talking about a situation where Davis left last game, Gafford out, Lively out. Even though they don't play the same position, this idiot team goes big. So, no, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, we saw him in a pretty big role last season, and he was borderline at best. So, yeah, he's not, from what we've seen, he's not playing 30-plus minutes every night. Lively will come back. Gafford will come back. We don't have word on Anthony Davis, but he'll be back. So, yeah, I don't think so.
Are you worried about the slow start for Kenneth Murphy III?
It has been slow. I mean, you could just group all these Pelicans questions together, couldn't you? Look, it's certainly hasn't been fun. Am I worried? Not yet. It's 4 games. We've seen enough of him, I think, to know that he's a lot better than this. So it's certainly an opportunity to try and buy low if his manager is frustrated. But I'm just holding and trusting that he will turn this around.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Okay, so people ask this question all the time. Is it time to panic? Should I worry? And my number one response is, like, what does it do? It doesn't do anything, right? If you worry about it, who cares, right? It doesn't mean anything to worry about it. But it's also, like you said, King, if you had a slow stretch of 4 games here at the start of January, you'd just be like, oh, man, hope he gets out of it soon. Yeah. Like, we forget that Trae Murphy was great last season. We forget that he was great the year before. We go, well, I guess 4 games are bad. He is bad. It is bad forever. And the world is ending, and I might as well just end everything. Like, okay, but, like, it's 4 games. Is it annoying? Like, yeah. Like, it's 100% annoying. Like, it's a pain in the ass that he's been bad to start the season. It's a pain in the ass that he was non-interested getting 7 points or whatever it was last game. But do I think that this is just who he is now? Do I think he is now, like, Tony Snell the fourth? Like, no. I don't think any of those things. I think that I just think that it's a bad start on a bad team with a bad coach, but he's been on a bad team before and been good. So I have pretty good confidence that it's going to get better.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you could plug in a range of players into this one. Cam Johnson is a very, very good example.
He's a little different, though. I'll tell you why
he is a little bit different.
Because new team, new situation. Like, he was the number 1 guy a lot of the time in Brooklyn, 24 usage or whatever it was, and he's not now. And he's fitting into a new squad. Trae Murphy isn't. Same coach, same players, same teammate. Compare the pair. Like, it's the same stuff, Kingy. Like, for him, like, Cam Johnson has to fit in. Plus, you got guys like Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway and then Peyton Watson who are, mix and matching. New coach, new team, new teammates. All of that is a little bit different. So, while Cam Johnson has done it, he did it under very different circumstances. So, this is why I think context is always important, because I can sit here and preach what happened last season is not what happens this season, which is true.
Yeah.
But we have to use the context behind those things. There's no reason that Trae Murphy is terrible now. Like, there's nothing that suggests that all of a sudden he's a 20% shooter or whatever he's shooting. But Cam Johnson, with all the context applied to it, it's like Anthony Simons. Like, okay, so does he play 28 minutes instead of 33 now? Oh, but he always did it in the past. Yeah, but it's very different now. And all that context has to be individually applied, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Here's a question that's similar, but all right. This is where context comes in. Andre says, will Derek White recover his field goal percentage, or will the volume and usage hinder it all year long? I'll let you take that one, Kingy.
What's he shooting at the moment?
Terrible. I know that.
Something bad. Will he be? Well, yes. I would certainly trust what we've seen the last, I don't know, however long, 3 years, 4 years that he's been in a sizable role over this 4-game stretch. So yes, I would say he will be better. Will the higher volume impact that? Look, no, I don't think so. I mean, from memory, he was at about 13 shot attempts last year, 12, 13, something like that per game. This year, he's probably going to be 16, 17, maybe even 18. So look, maybe it comes down a little bit, but not to the point that we're seeing now.
Here's why I do a lot of the research that I do in the off season, Kingy and everyone watching this, is that, like, am I worried that the usage and responsibility will hinder him? Yeah, I am, because what I found is that, as a general rule, players who are top 10 to 15 or 20 players, when they have big usage changes in general, they can maintain efficiency. The next rung down, when usage increases, efficiency drops. So yeah, I am worried about it. Now, am I worried that I'm not worried. It's not going to be this bad, but don't plug and play his old numbers into this season, because that extra responsibility for him, facing the best or second best defender, being the get out player versus the guy that just takes the shots when they're there, is a big difference. And he is not an elite of the... We love him. He's not the elite of the elite of the elite. And the general data suggests that those sort of players will cop an efficiency hit. It will be better than it is now, but I wouldn't plug and play the old numbers in for Derek White. We're going to plug and play more questions, though. We'll come back to that in a sec. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, but on every day, locking in every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options and futures and crypto, all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies. With a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts, you expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that is robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is also brought to you by DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. You might be just watching highlights, checking on your fantasy players, watching your favorite team and favorite player. DoorDash makes every game night even better and is also the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA. And DoorDash is celebrating with something they call the bag drop. Anytime an NBA player scores 50 points, we've already had like 4 of them, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. So next time someone goes off for 50, use the promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus, your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April the 13th. Open to US residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. All right. Let's get back to questions that you guys have. Of course, I'm joined by Adam King. All right. This question from Amira Al-Husseini says, Nicholas Claxton is sitting on my waiver wire. Is he a no-brainer pickup? Well, Amiri Al-Husseini, I'm going to need a pretty big brain to know the answer to that, because I got no idea what your league is. Guys, how could I know? Points league? 130 players? 8 team? 200 team? I got no idea. So I'm going to assume, King, that it's a 12-team category league, because what else can I go off? Is he a no-brainer pickup? Probably.
Yeah, probably. I assume you're hunting for big man stats if you're looking at Claxton. he was pretty good yesterday, had his first double-double, also had his first block for the season. That's an interesting stat. He had 0 blocks up until yesterday. So
he's been bad, no question.
Yeah, and I think he came out and said that. He said he needs to be better. And so hopefully that's the start of a nice little uptick there. But yeah, look, I think he probably is. I mean, he's playing a fairly consistent role, we were surprised last year, I think, when he just kept playing, even though Brooklyn were terrible, he kept playing a big role. So, I think he probably is, assuming that, as you said, context is correct and he fits what you need.
I saw another question about Keegan Murray, but I'll start with this one. It says, when does Keegan come back? I don't know, a week or two, not far away. I mean, someone said, with all the nonsense that is the Kings roster, do you feel that he can be a top 100 player? I don't. I think that he's gonna stand around invisible, King. Like, he's gonna play Keegan Murray, but like, we've already seen Dennis Schroeder being erased. Malik Monk's numbers are down. Sabonis is barely shooting it. Like, Keegan's just gonna stand around like scratching his dick. Like, what's he gonna be doing?
Yeah, we've seen this his whole career, basically. Yeah. I've talked about it ad nauseum that I would love to see them move him to the bench, get him more involved, because when he's in that starting lineup, he just doesn't touch the ball. He gets a steal, he gets a block, he gets you some points, some threes, but he does everything quite well, but he just doesn't touch the ball. He doesn't do it in high volume. So, yeah, unless a change comes in Sacramento, and God knows what's happening in Sacramento, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't really see how that's going to... I wouldn't be banking on top 100. I'd say that much. All right. Will Scottie Pippen Jr. and Ty Jerome returning affect Coward? I expect that the chicken starts soon. That's me ad-libbing there. Look, again, you have to do the 240 game, right? So, like, those guys are going to have some impact. I don't know how much it's going to be, but Coward is already a very low-usage player who's just shooting unbelievable numbers, but is he shooting unbelievable numbers because he's not taking shots? Look, those guys are probably going to combine Pippen and Jerome Kingy for 40 minutes. And you can take away Javon Small's minutes. You can take away Cam Spencer's minutes. Vince Williams was a DMP. G.G. Jackson was a DMP last game. You got to also add Zach Edey in there too. So, will it impact him? Possibly. I think people's hype on Coward for real life is fine. He looks really good. But I think for fantasy, he's going to... I'd say what I think he's going to be, Kingy. Like, rookie year Keegan Murray is what I think it'll end up being. Like, where Murray didn't take many shots. He shot really well, but he never ramped up usage, and he sort of didn't do much else apart from be really efficient at shooting threes. I am not comparing them as real-life players, because Coward's a lot longer, but they're not that different as real-life players, I think. So that's how I view that one.
Yeah, I think so. They've got a lot of players to come back. As you said, Zach Edey will be back in a little while. I mean... Yes, it's a fair question, but I also think if you look at Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen, and to a lesser extent Zach Edey, we're still looking at weeks until they're back. So this isn't something that's imminent. So he's going to have some nice opportunities until then. But once those guys come back, they're all going to be in the rotation playing 20-plus minutes. So it is going to have an impact.
Last name says, do I admit defeat on King Vooch this season? Oh, yeah, of course. After 4 games and he shot 41% yesterday, I was clearly wrong to have him ranked in the 50s. Like, clearly wrong. You guys have no idea. Shout out to Vooch. All right, what other questions have we got here? Any thoughts on Nick Clifford? He plays for the Kings, and he's a rookie, and he's currently injured. All right, is Sohan a must-roster player in a 200-deep category league? That's an interesting question. We have not seen Jeremy Sohan play this season, Kingy, and the Spurs team is humming. There's no starting role, I don't think, available for him. What the hell is he going to do this season?
Yeah, I think he'll play. He'll be in the rotation. I think we can assume that. But yeah, it's not like it was 12 months ago. It's exactly like we've seen with Devin Vassell, who has played well to his credit. But once Fox is back, I think there's a bit of an impact there. But yeah, look, I think Sohan plays, but I don't know, low 20s minutes. And we've seen even when he plays 28 or 30 minutes, he's borderline sort of top 100, 120. So 200 deep league, I think if you wanted to just grab him, you could, just to see what that role looks like. Because as you said, you may be dropping your worst player.
Kingy, I want you to have a look at this for me. If there's any updates on Brandon Miller or Darius Garland that's happened in the last hour. I don't think there is, but just go and have a look at that. But then while you check that out, I'll answer this next question. And this is a tough one, which we don't think we have a full answer for this necessarily. Your best advice for managing waiver wire bidding budget over the season. I think there should be a way, and I have worked on this, but I sort of gave up on the project because I was very busy with other stuff during last season. I probably should have done in the off season about managing your fab budget during the season. The general rule that I like to adhere to with this sort of stuff is the pickups you make earlier in the season are worth more because you have them for longer. All right. So when you're assessing a player that you're picking up, you've got to look at it. Is this short term? Am I doing this for 4 games in 5 nights? Am I doing it for a short-term injury? Is it someone that I think can maintain long-term value? Is it someone that's struggling with an idiot drop that I'm adding? And those players have longer, larger budgets applied to them because there's, I have worked on this formula before with it of trying to work out perceived value versus how long that you would think they would maintain that value that you would have in your league. And there's nothing that's perfect. I haven't perfected this idea. It's nowhere even close to something that's releasable, but that's the way that I look at it. It's is this someone that's okay, we'll compare Josh Minor, where we look at it, Kingy, and go, he could start all season, or he could be top 100 guy all season, right? So that is a large chunk of fab as a rule, versus if you are looking at, let's say, Mitchell Robinson remains out, Juice McBride returns, McBride might start for a week or two. Is it good if I try it? Maybe. But, in the end, it's got that's probably a bad example. That's got a real sort of time. I'm streaming in Jock Landau at the moment because Zach Edey's out. Okay, that's got a 4-week time frame. Yeah. And that's how I like to look at it. So the further you go into the season, the smaller amounts or the smaller percentage of budget that you use, and the longer term value requires more spending.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Minot's a very interesting one because he's a good example because I know I picked him up with my last pick in quite a few drafts just to see, and then he barely played. And I managed to. I think it was just due to the weird schedule. I sort of held him without actually wanting to hold him, or he just ended up on my roster anyway. So I was pretty happy about that. But yeah, I think that's right. I think you got to look at long-term value over short-term value and sort of, adjust accordingly.
And then when you get to the end of the season, there's 2 weeks, 3 weeks left. There's no long-term value. So it's just small little amounts of getting guys. And the importance with fab as well as stacking bids is making sure that, because if you don't win a bid, you've got no recourse to just go and grab someone else off the wire. So stack 7 or 8 guys that you want in a priority order. So if I don't get him, I get him, and then him, then him, then him, then him, because otherwise you can be left without the guy or someone that you want for that particular time frame, and set your bids up correctly. Another way to make sure you're doing that as well, if you're using fab, is Kingy is if you did this, there's 2 guys I really want off the waiver wire. So set a stacked bid, I'm going to drop player 1, but also then set a bid for the second guy in case you get the first guy for the first drop. Well, then you still want to get the second guy, so set a second bid for him after the first one. That if the first player goes, your second option then can be added for the second drop that you've got, if that makes sense. So multiple bids on the same player, but with different drop options as well.
Yep.
All right. Randy Mims says, last question before I go and do something else, then we'll come back for more. But Randy says, is Quinton guaranteed to be a starter for the season? That's great because there's multiple Quintons, but I know the spelling. So that's Quinton Post. Is he guaranteed to be a starter? No. Steve Kerr literally said they're going to rotate the starters between him and Brandon Pajemski. So no. And Kingy, it's the foreseeable future. So at the moment, he's going to be in and out of lineups, and I don't think we need to care for the vast majority. I'm going to come back to you in a sec to ask you about if there's any updates on Garland or on the other guy that I completely forgot, but we'll get to that in a sec. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The NBA is back. There is no better place to get in on that action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So when you're watching the NBA, there's a lot of bets you can do. You can do your spreads and totals, and you can do parlays and futures. But also, if you get in there halfway through, you can do live betting. You can check the score of a game. You can check a Pelicans game. I think they're going to lose by 30. It's happened before. And you can get in and bet against them coming back. Or you can bet against the team extending the lead. You can do all that stuff on FanDuel with all of your basketball knowledge. And you can also get yourself some bonus bets. You place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you get $300 in bonus bets. So FanDuel giving those new customers $5. Not giving them 5. They're giving $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. To go to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, we're bringing in the man here, Adam King, with his updates. Kingy, what's the word on the street?
Regarding the players, there's a lot of words on the street, but Garland, there is nothing that's come in the last hour that I can see, and it's Brandon Miller was the player you forgot, the other one. Nothing that I can see. It does sound like Garland's close.
It does.
Some updates came in overnight saying that he's been with the G League team. He's a full go in practice. So he is potentially 2 games away. Brandon Miller, there really hasn't been much other than him seeking a second opinion, which, as you tweeted out, means he didn't like the first opinion.
Usually, yeah. If you like the first one, you don't normally go to the second one. Is streaming still worth it if you've got a full roster projected to be top 100 of Basketball Monster? Well, again, Daniel, with any question like this, right, context is important. What if your league only rosters 105 players? Then, yeah, it's important. If you roster 150, then for the time being, no, you probably don't need to. And that's also important, Kingy, is that I preach this, I think you do as well, is at this time of the year, you don't have to whip your full streaming hog onto the desk at this point. You don't. You can actually just hey, let's have a little bit of patience on this stuff. Maybe let's wait to see if Trey Murphy gets better instead of making a crazy drop decision here. Instead of old mate dropping Nick Claxton earlier. Maybe just hold it. We don't need to maximize every single game right now. We can afford if we lose 5-4 or a 3-6 loss this week, it's all right. It's better than making a dumb decision right at this point, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think, take a loss, 5-4, and take some time to evaluate your team and see what they look like and find out your strengths, find out your weaknesses. And and I did tweet something in one of I do my heavy punts. People know that I often punt 4 categories. And last week I lost a category I should be winning. I think it was blocks from memory. But when I went and checked the stats, I finished second for the week in blocks. I just happened to play a team that I can't even remember why it was. They just got really lucky with blocks. So I'm not going to panic and go and drop all these players and try and stream blocks because I know that I'm generally going to win that category. So patience is a virtue at this time of the year.
I talked about this on one of my shows yesterday about stashing. Someone says, does it make sense to stash DeJounte Murray, assuming the Pelicans were already tanking? They're not tanking. They don't have a draft pick. The purpose of tanking is to get a better draft pick. But
they're just bad.
That can't happen, right? They're just bad. Stashing at this point for a guy that might come back in January is a losing proposition. And also, if they are bad and they continue to be bad, and they've already promoted Jeremiah Fears to be the starting point guard, DeJounte's not coming in and taking that role away from him. I wouldn't have thought. I think they'll just hold him out and play him limited minutes. It just is a huge handcuff to you. It's an anchor to your team, and not in the handcuff as a positive fantasy team, or anchoring as a guy that's really keeping me grounded. It just drags you down because it just burns a whole spot. It burns a waiver move, which who cares? But it burns your injury slot, and you're sitting there and you go, okay, for what? For maybe in March, and also he was bad last season before he got injured. So that sort of an idea, it's him and someone else, another question about stashing, a Jaden Ivey. You're talking about a guy who's a fringe player at the back of a roster who's got to come back from a knee surgery now, even if it's a small procedure. I think it's just a waste of time for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess if you've got, I'm in a league with 10 IR spots. So right. In that league, I would probably say it's okay. But yeah, generally, if you've got 2-3 IR spots, with the way that players sit and rest and manage and all sorts of things, you need those IR spots to be able to pick up players and rest guys. So, yeah, I don't think I would. And, I mean, DeJounte, Wasn't he sort of talking, or there was sort of rumors, whatever, that he doesn't even want to be there? So
it was like the whole team offers me no support. Their facilities are shit. No one helps. It wasn't good. But he's a legendary bitch and moan guy. Like he always seems to have something to say about everything. So I don't know. Some of the Pelicans guys push back on that. Thoughts on Dyson Daniels? He's got a brother. His name is Dash. All right. Guys, you have to have more context about what about Kyrie? Yeah, the same, but worse. He might be out longer. Guys, these sort of decisions of a guy that's 33 years old, coming off an ACL, going to miss back-to-backs, be on limited minutes, and you're 3 months away from returning is a waste of your time. It's just a waste of your time. All right, here's a question, because we're going to get it today, Kingy, so we can put you on the spot. Bilal Coulibaly is returning today. What do you think is going to happen? Is he going to start? Is he going to be good enough? Because he wasn't last season. Where do you see his role?
Is he going to start? Maybe. I don't know whether he will today, first game back. I don't think we have lineups locked or anything yet. So
I don't think he is.
Yeah,
unless it's Chris Middleton, because they made a point, Brian, and I thought this was just curious. They made a point of saying in the preseason, they said, Bilal's had a lot of opportunities. We've seen how he's gone. He's been in there. We've given him lots of chances. Let's see what others can do. Okay, well, that's interesting. You didn't really hear coaches say, like, you've had your turn, mate. Sit aside, someone else is having a crack. So it was a little interesting to me just to hear that. Now, I don't know if that was because he was out with the injury, or it was like, we're not going to be... Look, Bilal led the team in minutes last season. Played like 33 a game. So was that them giving the indication maybe we're not leaning as heavily into him this season? I don't know. That would be something interesting. Anyway, the question is, do you think that he's an ad, I guess?
Do I think he's an ad? Oh, again, flyer, maybe, if you want. We know what he's good at. We know what he's bad at. I think he's probably like a top 150 player.
What is he good at? All right, you said he went up. He's good at. What is he good at?
Accumulating defensive stats. I would say, I'm not saying he's a good defender, but he will get you like 1.2, 1.3 steals. Yep. The scoring, I mean, we've seen the scoring is wildly inconsistent. He'll have a 30-point game and then score 6 in the next game. So it's very, very up and down.
What did he have last season? About 12?
12 or 13 or something, minutes? I think. Yeah. In 30-plus minutes. So does he play 30-plus minutes off the bench?
Drop-offs to ever predict, because he was hitting like 90% at the rim on a bunch of like uncontested layups, which is okay. No one is ever going to continue to do this. And then he was hitting like 50% on threes at the same time. So there's no chance any of this stuff holds. And it didn't. He was bad after about the first 2 weeks. All right, here's a question that I think was probably going to be our last one, Kingy. Brandon Williams, fresh out of handcuffs, comes in and has a huge game yesterday. What do you think his role is going to be like moving forward? But again, we can look at this, and there was Anthony Davis, who played 6 minutes. Derek Lively was out. That's, let's say, minimum 20 minutes. Daniel Gafford wasn't there. That's 20 minutes. And they could all play next game. So it might be 40 minutes between Gafford and Lively, 35 of Davis at 75 minutes. What does Williams do? Could he overtake? Oh, I made a comment earlier in the preseason. I don't think it'll happen, but there's a chance that he's just better than D'Angelo Russell. What do you do with that? A huge performance from Brandon Williams yesterday, because it was great, but I don't see the clear pathway for this.
No, it's tough with all of the players out. And yes, they are largely their bigs. But that will have a flow-on effect. He was good.
They play all the bigs anyway.
They do. He was good yesterday. He was good down the stretch last season. He was someone that probably ended up on a lot of rosters at some point. Is he better than D'Angelo Russell? I think that's a pretty fair question. Russell has looked better, but Williams played more than him yesterday, I think. I feel like he did, and had a good game. Had 20 points, I think. So look, if you want to get him and just see what happens, sure. Just maybe he does end up playing as their point guard, because Cooper Flagg is not succeeding at point guard.
I wonder how stubborn they are in moving off of that.
Yeah, that's and who's calling the shots as well.
The problem is their whole team. It makes no sense, because if you do that and you move off Cooper Flagg as being the point guard, then he plays the 3 or the 4, and then there's Washington, Davis, Gafford, Lively. How the hell does everybody fit in together? Right? So while that makes a lot of sense, you're going to have to reduce the minutes of your other good players in order to make it make sense because the roster is so horribly constructed. So do they just remove Klay Thompson from the lineup? They should. I don't know if they will or not. But yeah, this is the problem with this team. It's why I was down on PJ Washington, because I didn't think they'd start Flag at point guard, which would mean that everyone's going to squish in at that top end. And where is the upside for minutes on these guys?
Yeah.
And if you move off of the Flag thing and you start playing Williams and Russell all of the minutes at point guard, and Christie's getting his playing time, then some of your better players don't play. And that's because it's a horrendously constructed roster.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, look, in answer to, I guess, to the Brandon Williams question, drop your worst player, pick him up, see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, you drop him and grab someone else.
Totally okay with that, Kingy, and I'm totally okay with ending the mailbag show there because we can't keep going forever. Kingy, you are doing, I feel like you're playing, or you're, sorry, not playing with, you might be playing with mailbags. I know you're doing a lot of mailbags at the moment over at Old Man Squad. I see you just popping up at different time zones. You're appeasing men across the world with your opening of those questions. What have you got? When's the next one scheduled? I'm sure you got 4 more coming today.
Wednesday is going to be generally my consistent day where I do 2 mailbags. So I do one at 7 a.m. our time and one at 7 p.m. our time. So yeah, trying to catch both sides of the world, I suppose. The morning one is with Noah. The evening one's by myself because no one else wants to record a show at 7 p.m.
I understand that completely. Well, Kingy, you are Fantasy Basketball's high-class escort in your expertise with mailbags. So thank you for doing that and for answering the questions here for us. Check out Kingy's show over at Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball Network. Kingy, thank you again for coming on here.
My pleasure, mate. Enjoy the day.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us here on the Mailbag Show. You know what to do. You double bang, you thumb up, you leave the comments down below. We're done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya. Yes, Tim Powell, I am in Australia.